In July 1956, Elvis Presley, at just 21 years old, was photographed outside Jim's barbershop in Memphis. He was already a rising star, known for his charming personality and infectious energy. Here, Elvis is playfully interacting with a police officer while waiting for a haircut. This candid moment showcases the side of Elvis that his fans loved, down-to-earth and relatable despite his growing fame. At the time, he had already captured the hearts of millions with his unique blend of rock and roll, setting the stage for a career that would make him an icon worldwide. This photograph, taken in 1956, captures Elvis Presley standing outside Jim's barbershop on South Main Street in Memphis. Elvis, still early in his career, was already a sensation. His youthful demeanor and magnetic presence made him a household name in music. The picture gives us a glimpse of a more relaxed moment in his life, far from the stage lights, as he enjoys a casual visit to the barbershop. It also reflects the simplicity of his early years, a stark contrast to the global fame he was soon to experience. In May 1956, Elvis Presley had just returned home from a national tour. This photo shows him standing in the front yard of his newly purchased house at 1034 Audubon Drive in Memphis. The house, bought with the earnings from his music, represented his rapid rise to fame. At this point, Elvis was already a star, and the instruments of his band can be seen packed on the roof of his car, symbolizing the constant hustle of his growing career. His iconic pink Cadillac parked nearby adds a signature element that added to his glamorous image. In this image, Elvis Presley strikes a confident pose at CBS Studios. His outfit, a pop-over sports shirt and cool Western belt loops, reflects the casual yet stylish look that became part of his public persona. At this point in his career, Elvis had already transitioned from a regional sensation to a national icon. His appearances on television, particularly on shows like The Ed Sullivan Show, played a crucial role in cementing his status as one of the most influential figures in music and pop culture. This photo from 1957 captures Elvis Presley standing beside one of his beloved Cadillacs, a symbol of his success and taste for luxury. The car was not only a personal indulgence, but also a reflection of the extravagant lifestyle that came with being one of the most famous entertainers of the time. Elvis's silk sport coat adds to the image of a polished, sophisticated young man enjoying the fruits of his stardom. This image encapsulates the glamour and allure that surrounded him during the peak of his career. This iconic photograph features Elvis Presley on his 1956 Harley-Davidson KH motorcycle, which was featured on the cover of Harley-Davidson's The Enthusiast magazine. Known for his rebellious spirit, Elvis's love for motorcycles became a part of his rock and roll image. The photo highlights a different side of the star, one that embraced freedom and adventure, breaking away from the polished image often associated with his celebrity persona. This motorcycle became as legendary as the man himself, representing his desire for independence. On May 15, 1956, Elvis Presley headlined a concert at the Ellis Auditorium in Memphis during the Memphis Cotton Carnival. The event drew such a large crowd that both sides of the auditorium had to be opened to accommodate the overflow. Elvis's live performances were an essential part of his rise to fame, with his energetic stage presence and powerful vocals leaving a lasting impact on his audience. This photo, taken during that performance, captures the excitement and anticipation that surrounded Elvis in his early years of stardom. In this undated photograph, Elvis Presley is seen at the Ellis Auditorium in Memphis, likely taken around 1956-1957. The image shows him wearing the same shoes, socks, and ring that he wore during his May 15, 1956 concert, reflecting the consistency in his performance attire. At this point in his career, Elvis had already established a reputation for his style both on and off the stage. His performances were known for their intensity, and this photo captures the same energy and charm that made him a household name. In 1957, Elvis Presley rehearsed at the Maxine Elliott Theater in New York for his landmark appearance on The Ed Sullivan Show. This performance marked a pivotal moment in Elvis's career, introducing him to a national television audience. His appearance on the show catapulted him to stardom and solidified his place in pop culture history. The photograph captures the behind-the-scenes preparation, highlighting the professionalism and dedication that Elvis brought to his craft, even in his early days as a television performer. In 1956, Elvis Presley and pianist Liberace, both massive stars in their respective fields, came together for a jam session at the Riviera Hotel in Las Vegas. The two men, famous for their larger-than-life personas, shared a mutual respect for each other's artistry. This impromptu performance, filled with musical exchanges and playful energy, symbolizes the collaboration between different entertainment genres. For Elvis, the session added another layer to his image as a versatile artist, blending rock and roll with the elegance and theatricality of showbiz icons like Liberace. In 1956, Elvis Presley and his manager, Colonel Tom Parker, were photographed together in Memphis, marking a pivotal moment in their professional relationship. Colonel Parker, who had been instrumental in shaping Elvis's career, played a major role in turning the young singer into a global superstar. Their partnership defined much of Elvis's rise to fame, with Parker's promotional strategies and business savvy helping secure the king of rock and roll's place in music history. The photo captures their working bond at a time when Elvis was on the verge of becoming a household name worldwide. In 1956, Elvis Presley was photographed with the Jordanaires in a Nashville studio, capturing a moment of collaboration that contributed to some of his greatest hits. The Jordanaires, a vocal group that played a key role in Elvis's sound, were integral to his rise in the music world. Their harmonies complemented Elvis's unique voice, and together they created timeless music. The photo reflects the synergy between the artist and his backing singers, helping to shape the sound that would define rock and roll for decades. In 1957, Elvis Presley was photographed alongside fellow recruits at an induction station in Memphis, awaiting processing into the U.S. Army. This marked a significant moment in his life, as he was about to take a break from his skyrocketing career to serve his country. Elvis's military service was a key chapter in his life and helped shape his public image, as many fans admired his commitment to duty. The photo captures him as a young man navigating the transition from superstardom to a more grounded role, showing the personal side of the king. In October 1958, Elvis Presley posed for a photograph during his military service at a U.S. base in Freiburg im Breisgau, West Germany. Serving as a soldier during a time of great personal success, Elvis's time in the Army was a defining period in his life. This image captures a moment of stillness in his service, contrasting the energetic, larger-than-life persona he had become. Elvis's military service was a significant part of his legacy, showing his patriotism and humility as he took a break from fame to fulfill his duties. While in the Army, Elvis Presley was photographed strumming his guitar during some downtime. Known for his love of music, even in the midst of military life, Elvis used his guitar to maintain a connection to his passion. This image shows a more relaxed side of Elvis, away from the spotlight, as he enjoyed simple moments of solitude. Music was his constant companion, and this photo reflects how deeply it was woven into the fabric of his life, even during his time in service. Elvis Presley's future wife, Priscilla, was just 16 years old when she joined him upon his release from the military. Their relationship, which would go on to become one of the most famous love stories in rock and roll history, began during this time. Priscilla's presence marked the beginning of a new chapter for Elvis, both personally and professionally. This photograph captures a tender moment, setting the stage for their eventual marriage and the life they would build together, amidst the challenges of fame and family life. On February 6, 1955, Elvis Presley was photographed backstage at the Ellis Auditorium in Memphis, shortly before a performance. During this time, Colonel Tom Parker met with Sam Phillips of Sun Studio, as well as Elvis's manager Bob Neal, to begin discussions about Parker officially representing Elvis. This meeting marked the beginning of a partnership that would help transform Elvis into a global superstar. The photograph encapsulates the strategic moments behind the scenes that contributed to Elvis's incredible rise to fame. On July 4, 1956, Elvis Presley danced with Barbara Hearn in the living room of his home at 134 Audubon Drive. Hearn, a former girlfriend of Elvis, later recalled the room's pink decor, with twin beds that made it resemble a teenage girl's room. She mentioned that it was his mother who chose the decor, and Elvis loved it because she had picked it. This moment in Elvis's private life offers a glimpse into his personal world, showcasing his down-to-earth nature despite his massive fame. It's a side of Elvis that fans rarely saw, highlighting his love for simplicity and family. In February 1955, legendary disc jockey Dewey Phillips joined Elvis Presley on stage at the Ellis Auditorium. Dewey, known for playing Elvis's groundbreaking song "That's All Right" on the radio, was one of the first to introduce Elvis to a wider audience. The song's debut on Phillips's show caused the phone lines to light up with requests. This photograph captures the bond between the two men, as Dewey's support played a significant role in Elvis's rise to stardom, especially in the South. As the host of Red Hot and Blue on WHBQ radio throughout the 1950s, Dewey Phillips was considered by many to be the greatest DJ of the era. His eclectic mix of blues, country, R&B, and dance records helped prepare Southern audiences for the rock and roll revolution. Phillips's show was a major influence on the music scene, providing a platform for emerging stars like Elvis Presley. Dewey's legacy as a groundbreaking DJ remains a crucial part of rock and roll history, helping to shape the soundscape of the 1950s and beyond. The raised right hand of Elvis Presley during his induction into the U.S. Army marked a pivotal moment in his life. On March 24, 1958, Elvis took the oath at the Memphis Induction Center, administered by Major Elbert P. Turner. By midnight, Elvis and 20 other recruits were on their way to Fort Chaffee, Arkansas, for basic training. Despite being one of the most famous men in the world, Elvis embraced this transition into military life, reflecting his commitment to serving his country during a break from his extraordinary music career. On March 7, 1960, about 200 fans eagerly gathered at Union Station to welcome Elvis Presley back home from his military service. He wore a unique non-issue dress blue Army uniform made in Germany. Elvis had been discharged with the rank of sergeant, but a tailor's mistake left him with staff sergeant stripes. The formal white shirt he wore that day was a gift from Frank Sinatra, delivered by his daughter Nancy. This moment symbolized the return of the king, now with a new chapter ahead, beyond the Army and back to stardom. On August 5, 1955, Elvis Presley took to the stage at the Overton Park Shell in Memphis for his second appearance. By this point, Elvis had already begun to captivate audiences with his electrifying performances, blending his rockabilly style with his signature charisma. This performance was another milestone in his journey, as he continued to win over fans and make his mark on the music scene. The energy of that night marked the beginning of what would become an unforgettable rise to superstardom. At the May 15, 1956 concert at Ellis Auditorium in Memphis, a fan proudly showed off her dress, a symbol of the dedication and excitement that Elvis inspired. More than 7,000 fans packed the auditorium, stomping, screaming, and celebrating as the young Elvis Presley performed his rock and roll hits. The atmosphere was electric, with Elvis's magnetic stage presence and bold performances turning his concerts into unforgettable experiences for all who attended, and cementing his reputation as the king of rock and roll. This undated photograph of Elvis Presley at Ellis Auditorium in Memphis, probably taken between 1956 and 1957, captures a timeless image of the young star. He is seen wearing the same shoes, socks, and ring he wore during his May 15, 1956 concert. The consistency in his appearance reflects his growing confidence as a performer, as Elvis's style became as iconic as his music. This photo serves as a snapshot of his early career, when his live performances began to shape the legend that would follow him throughout his career. Elvis Presley was photographed inside Graceland in 1965, strumming an electric bass guitar. This image, published in the first issue of Mid-South, shows Elvis in a more relaxed, private moment, enjoying his love for music at home. Even with his busy career, Elvis remained deeply connected to his musical roots. The photograph captures his easygoing nature and the intimacy of his private life, as he continued to explore and experiment with different instruments, always driven by his passion for music. Throughout his career, Elvis Presley was always eager to help charities and make a difference. He worked with numerous organizations, including the American Cancer Society, the Salvation Army, and St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. His generosity was a reflection of his humble nature, as he used his fame and wealth to give back to the community. Elvis's commitment to charitable causes made a significant impact, and he left a legacy not just as a musical icon, but as someone who cared deeply for others. In 1956, Elvis Presley was photographed outside Jim's barbershop on South Main Street in Memphis. On March 8, 1960, Elvis reflected on his love for his hometown, saying, "Somebody asked me this morning what I missed about Memphis, and I said everything." Memphis had shaped Elvis's early life and career, and despite his worldwide fame, he always remained connected to his roots. This photograph captures Elvis in a moment of nostalgia, showing how his love for Memphis stayed with him, even as he conquered the global stage. By the fall of 1955, Elvis Presley had already toured the South extensively, performing in Texas, Florida, and making appearances on both the Grand Ole Opry and Louisiana Hayride. His performances were pivotal in expanding his fan base and establishing him as a star in the Southern music scene. At the same time, he was recording his iconic Sun Studio songs, which would go on to define his musical style and shape the sound of rock and roll for generations to come. On July 4, 1956, Elvis Presley relaxed with his family on the patio of his home at 1034 Audubon Drive in Memphis. Elvis had purchased the house for $40,000 the previous year, a year before buying Graceland. While he enjoyed downtime at home, the same day he posed for this photograph, Elvis also performed at a benefit concert at Russwood Park in Memphis. The photo captures a rare moment of quiet in Elvis's life, offering a glimpse into his personal world, far from the public eye, as he balanced family and his growing career. On July 4, 1956, Elvis Presley performed at Russwood Park in Memphis, and photographer Robert W. Dye had a rare front-row seat to history. Positioned just 10 feet from Elvis, Dye captured moments most fans could only dream of. When asked how he got such close access, Dye humorously replied, "It was the only safe place to be. Those girls in the audience would mob you." The scene at Russwood Park was electrifying, with screaming fans and the sheer magnetism of Elvis on stage. His performance that night added another unforgettable chapter to his legacy, showing just how deep his connection with his audience was, and how the king of rock and roll had truly taken over the hearts of millions.